Thursday, July 1st for 20 and 21. Welcome to the Todd Kaufmann Show. Thank you for tuning in, as you always do. If you don't want to tune in on YouTube, you can tune in on the Anchor app, Anchor. You can go to Google Podcasts, you can go to Apple Podcasts, or you can even find the show on Spotify. Yes, you can. Search the Todd Kaufmann Show. You'll find it there. If you're joining us on YouTube, thank you very much for joining us. Hope you're doing well. Hope you continue to tune in. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Hit that like button. I would appreciate any comments, any feedback. I would enjoy that too. Glad that you are with us. I want to talk about passion today. Something that I posted this morning actually was something I wrote in my notes. I was talking to a buddy of mine last night. He and I were texting back and forth. And I told him, I was trying to encourage him. I said, one thing that I've gotten to do so I don't forget is something that pops into my head, something that I want to talk about in the next day. And I try to post every day some encouraging thoughts, and whether it's scripture-based or whether it's not. I try to post something every single day. And if something pops into my head, if I'm walking around, if my wife and I are out doing something, or I'm out with the kids, or we're at home just kind of sitting around with them watching movies, and something pops into my head, I grab my phone, I open my notes, and I start typing in there so I don't forget it for the next day. And I may not end up posting it. Some of those thoughts are just mine. Some of those things I just put in there, I'll end up gathering all those thoughts, maybe put them into a Word document and saving it for maybe to read later, for the kids to read someone down the road. I think that's something cool for the kids to find and go, these are all my dad's thoughts, everything that he wrote down, everything that was encouraging, and maybe it adds something, some sort of encouragement to their life after I'm, long gone. But this is what I posted this morning. Our desire to make an impact has to be met with a passion to make an impact. If there's no passion behind what we're saying, the impact will never match the desire. Encourage, drive, motivate, lift up, push, coach, pray for, all of it has to have a passion behind it to activate the impact we're trying to make. We have a desire to make an impact every day, right? I think there's a lot of us who look at our world and go, man, I want to have an impact on this world. I want to do something that impacts the world. But what we often forget is that world sometimes is the world around us, the friends around us, the neighborhood around us. You don't have to look at the entire planet and go, I want to make an impact on the planet. Sometimes that impact that you have on a neighborhood, on a group of friends that you have, that impact adds to what they're doing, and they take it on, and they make an impact on other people, and those people and then all of a sudden what you did to start that wave, just starts out at a ripple, and then it just kind of adds up and adds up and adds up and adds up. That kind of impact, that will eventually change the world. All you have to do is start with a ripple. Don't look at the entire globe. Look at what you have in front of you. And God kind of reminded me of that because I had that same thought just last week. And I wanted to make an impact. I just, you can post as much as you can. And oftentimes we get worried about likes, right? I think that in a social media world, we're so worried about, oh my gosh, I only got this many likes. What do I have to do to turn up the... It's not about that. There are so many times that people see what you're doing without hitting that like button, but they're still seeing it. And that still makes an impact on what's going on in their world. Just yesterday, I posted something and I got a text about an hour later from someone who said, hey, that was right at me. That I needed that today. They didn't like the post, but they saw it, and that hit home to them, and that encouraged them. It's all about that. It's not about who's liking it. It's about who you're impacting, who's reading it. So put it out there for the world. Let it be encouraging and let people read it. They don't have to like it, but at least let it impact them. You're not doing it for likes, you're doing it for impact. You don't need to see who's actually seeing it. You just need to put it out there and have faith in God that He's putting it before everybody else and it's making an impact in their life. All He's asking us to do is trust. That we trust Him to put this stuff out there, the stuff that gets put in our spirit, right? It's not always scriptural based, but the things that God puts on our heart and we type into our notes and then we put on Facebook or Instagram or whatever the case may be. And those thoughts, that the thing that was put in our spirit ends up impacting so many other people, and that's the entire point. Now, to go back to passion, you have the desire to make the impact, but if you never have the passion behind it, the impact will never be there. right? We have a desire to do something, but unless you have a passion behind the desire, the goal is never going to be met. You have to, like for example, let's take Michael Jordan as a great example. He had a desire to be the best. Everybody tells the story about how he was cut in high school out of his high school basketball team. But if he never had the passion to become the best, if he never had the passion to work as hard as he did, if he never had the passion behind this championship and that, if it was just one and he was good, he had the desire to win one and that was it. If he had just gotten complacent after one, the Chicago Bulls would have never been the team that they were. But Jordan had the passion to be better every single year. He had the desire to be the best. There was nobody that was going to be better than him. So his passion was greater after every championship. His passion was greater year after year after year. And you saw what happened when his passion waned, his desire went with it, and he just didn't feel like he wanted to play basketball anymore. And so he went and played baseball. And then all of a sudden, here comes that desire, here comes that passion, and back to basketball he came. If you have a desire to do something, I would ask the simple question, what's the passion that you are going to put behind that desire? What is the goal? What is the dream that you have? What do you desire to do? How do you desire to change your life? How do you desire to change your family's trajectory, to change the impact that you're making? If you can find the desire, if you can find the goal, if you can find that want to, you've got to put the passion behind it, because no one reaches a goal by doing absolutely nothing to get to it. You have to be able to put in the work. You have to be able to. Eric Thomas is a great example. He's probably, I don't think probably, to me, he is the best motivational speaker out there. But he didn't get there without putting in the work to get there. It didn't just get handed to him. He didn't wake up one day and the world went, hey, Eric Thomas, you're the best motivational speaker, without getting in front of people, without speaking, without telling the truth of what God was using him for. It didn't just happen one day. He put the work in behind it. God will deliver a blessing to us, but not without the work behind it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have works behind the blessing, but God wants to see if you really want to earn it. There is a blessing there, but if you're just going to sit with your arms folded and you're going to sit there and just wait for God to do something, it's never going to happen. He wants to see you work for it. You have to take step by step by step by step to get there. So that's what I talk about. That desire to make an impact has to be met with a passion to make the impact. They go hand in hand. If you're a young athlete, your desire to be the best every single day has to be met with a passion for the game. If you don't have a passion for the game, how are you going to have the desire to be great? If you're after academics, if you're after that scholarship at a top school, if you're heading into high school and you've got the goal in front of you is to reach a school like Harvard or Yale, or maybe it's UCLA, maybe it's Stanford, maybe it's Texas, maybe it's San Diego State, maybe it's Washington, maybe it's Michigan, maybe it's Ohio State. You have to have the passion to match you have to have the desire to match the passion to get there. Your passion has to, if you want the goal, you better be able to work for it. But here's what I would ask you to add to that. The one thing, and you might be able to see it over my right shoulder, but there's a treadmill and you might be able to see some yellow stickies right here. They're right, so when I work out and when I hit the treadmill for a little over an hour, there are different sticky notes that have a different why to it. Why am I on the treadmill? Why am I wanting to lose weight? Why am I wanting to do these things? There's several stickies on a piece of paper taped to the wall that I can see every time I get on. So when I look at it, I know why I'm doing it. The point I'm trying to make to you is start to write down the whys behind it. If there is a desire to do something and you want to find the passion, you will find the passion if you can understand the why behind it. Why are you trying to reach that goal? Why do you want to go to Michigan? What is it, just because it's Michigan? Because I think it's so much bigger than that. Do you want to go to the NBA? Why do you want to go to the NBA? Is there a reason you want to make the money you want to make? Is it to uh, better your family? Is it to to put away money for your kids to be able to go to college and to not have student loans when they get out of college, to already set up a retirement for them, a nest egg, to when they get old enough, you've already done your job as a parent? Why do you want to go to the NFL? Why do you love the games? Do you see what I'm getting at? So there are different whys that you need to understand and write down, because every time you read those, you go, oh yeah, now I know. I remember. Why am I? Because if you get in that doldrum, if you get in those hard times as you're working towards something, there's always those times you go, why am I doing this? Why am I working so hard? There's always that moments where we don't think we're going to reach the goal. There are always those times when we bust our butt for day after day after day after day after day, and the goal never seems to be any closer. And you start to ask your question, why am I doing this? You open your book, or you open your phone, or you have something like this that I have in front of my treadmill. Why am I doing this? Oh yeah, for my wife, for my husband, for my son, for my daughter, for my family, for my financial well-being, for my retirement, for... If you have the whys with everything that you do, I believe that passion will be so much greater, and it will continue to be at the level that you have right now. I talked about the other day, actually just yesterday, when I talked about the scripture in Proverbs, when teaching a kid, teaching a child, and when he gets old, he will not depart from it. I think encouraging is a part of what we do, but having your whys is an encouragement to yourself to continue to have that high level of passion, to have that high level of desire, to always continue that every single, because and I'm telling you, for those of you that are about to go into high school, this will be the longest 4 years, but the most rewarding 4 years of your life. And if you work hard toward it, if you keep that passion for it, if you keep the desire going, if you have those whys written down, why am I grinding every day? Why am I staying up till midnight to do this project? Why am I wanting to have straight A's? Oh yeah, it's because I want this school, and there is nothing that's going to stop me from getting there but me. I think if you have that, you're going to find the passion and desire will always be there. So I hope that encourages you a little bit. I wanted to switching gears on this show here, like I tend to do a lot. I want to talk about making decisions that are best for your family. There are a lot of times in life that we make decisions and we try to base them on, what is going to be financially best? Who is going to pay me the most? What is it that I want to go do? What kind of commute do I want? Is it close to home? Is it somewhere that I want to be? Is it a recognized company? Am I going to be able to say, ooh, I work for these people, and people are going to be impressed? But there are going to be times in life where you're going to recognize it. And honestly, I think this is something that I've talked about before. It took my mom passing away this past December from cancer to realize that I'm not going to work my life away for someone who cares very little about me or my family or what happens to us. The reason I say that is this, and it was no slight to my mom. She worked 25 plus years as a CPA and gave me a great life, allowed me to play in basketball camps and go to a great elementary and high school growing up, and cared about what I did and where I was going and stuff like that. Was incredibly supportive. But when my mom reached retirement at the end of 2018, she had all these great plans to go travel to Eastern Canada and go back to Europe and do the things that she had earned in working all of that time. She retired at the end of 2018, and in the first months of 2019, around March time, she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Those trips never happened. No matter how much I begged my mom, just take the trips, go for a week, come back, you can do chemo, see how you feel, take the next trip, go for a week, come back, go through chemo again. She never did. I'm not saying that I'm sitting here saying I told you so or she should have done this. I'm not saying that at all. Please understand. But what I am saying is understand that working your life away isn't something that I would suggest you do. It's not that important. Now, me being a husband and father, my importance is my 2 kids and my wife. That's my importance. That's what I want to live my life for. I don't want to live my life working on the weekends for a company who loves that I can produce for them but cares very little how I produce at home. If you're producing more at work and forgetting to produce at home, isn't that missing the point? I want to be able to give my family a good life, and I know that I have to do that doing a certain job, and I'm something I'm looking forward to, but I also want to make memories with my family. And if I'm working all of these hours, if you're doing all of these things and trying to make as much money as you can and forgetting that memories and events and moments sometimes can be had without a cent. I've seen through my daughter's eyes quite a few times that time with her daddy, just sitting in a chair watching a movie, makes an impact on her. We just finished talking about impact and passion and desire. My daughter has a desire for daddy to be home. My daughter has a desire for mommy to be home, for us to be a family. That's so incredibly important to her in all her life and her world as well when mommy and daddy are both home. When, I was traveling a lot in 2019, and that took a lot out of my daughter, and she hated that I was gone so much. And I'm sure my wife handling 2 kids, it wasn't easy on her either. But I realized through losing my mom that I wanted to do things with my kids and my wife, things that made an impact on them, things that we could remember for the rest of our lives. And so I started to have this mentality that I'm not going to negotiate my family's time. You're not going to take time away from my family. You're not going to ask me to do above and beyond the things that I'm already signed up to do. You're not going to tell me that you're more important than my wife. You're not going to tell me that you're more important than my daughter or my son. I'm going to be a father and husband first and foremost. I'm going to be a husband before I am a father. And I'm going to be both before I'm an employee. That is so incredibly important to me. And I want to work for a company that says that's important to us too, and we value your time. We know that when you are at your best at home, you are at your best here. And that's what we want. That is best for us. And that's what is so incredibly important to me. But I ask you this question: how important is it to you? How incredibly important is your family to you? Are you finding yourself working more and more hours because you have a project to be done and you want a promotion and you want this and you want that, and your time at home is waning and you're traveling more and you want to make a better life? Somebody said something to me in an interview that I just I will never forget, and maybe I took it the wrong way, but the way they looked at me was like, you're missing the point. That's not really the point. That's not how I want to live my life. They looked at me from across the table, and after telling them that my time with my family was important, that I want to make an impact on them, that memories often don't cost a thing. And her response to me was, yes, but we have to work for a better life. Who says? Who's defining what a better life is? Who's defining what a better life can be for someone? We work for a better life? Now, I know there have been a lot of instances, especially when you look back in the history of the United States, when immigrants were coming into New York and they had to work their tail off to get where they wanted to go. But oftentimes we realize that they worked for a better life because they felt like they had to, and probably they did. And they made this country what it is. But in this day and age, sometimes we don't need to work that hard and forget the people that we're impacting negatively or otherwise. We forget the kids that when we come home that they throw their hands up, not caring the kind of day that daddy or mommy had in the office. All they care about is mommy and daddy are home with them, and all their world is right. That's what they care about. I will forever care about coming home or going to my kids' school to pick them up and seeing the smiles on their faces every day because daddy is there every day. It's something they can count on. Their world revolves around whether daddy is there every day. Their world revolves around whether mommy is there every day. That's their world. I'm not saying that that's your kid's world. I'm not saying that that's how your family should work. I'm saying what's important to me is that smile, those smiles on their faces, that their world is right when both mommy and daddy are home, and when they go to bed at night, they know that their family is complete. And when they wake up in the morning, they know daddy is going to wake them up and take them to school. And when they get home at night, both mommy and daddy are going to be there when they go to bed. They know that their protection and their world is right. So to me, I just had to get to a mindset of I was not going to negotiate that time anymore. I wanted to be home. My daughter starts first grade in the fall. I want to be able to take her to school every day. I want her to know that in this new change in her life, that her daddy is going to be there in every start to every new day. And her daddy is going to encourage her as she walks through very new doors and very new places and very new sounds and very new smells and very new sights, that I am going to be right there to say, Hannah, you can do this. You are going to make new friends. You are going to love your class. You are going to love your teachers. You are going to do well. You can do this. You can accomplish this. You can fight through this. I know it's going to be hard for a little while. And every single day that she goes through, she knows when she walks through the door, that encouragement may need to become less and less, because now I've built into her that I can do this. I'm going to walk through these doors. I have these friends. I have these teachers. I have these classes. I'm looking forward to going every day. When I get out of school, mommy and daddy are going to be home at the end of the night. They're going to help me with my homework. My son, when he gets to go into first grade in a few years, it's going to be the same encouragement all over again. Buddy, you can do this. You've got this. I know it's a new school, new sights, new sounds, new smells, new senses, new everything. It's a bigger school. It's probably 5 times the size of what they're in now. But when they hear from their daddy that you can do this, when they hear from their mom that I love you and you can do this and you can get through this, that's when our world is right, because we are not negotiating time with them. We're not taking time away from them to be somewhere that cares very little for us. I'm not saying every company does that, because not every company does. There are lots and lots and lots of companies in this country who care about the people that work there and will do everything they can in their power to make sure their world at home is right, because if their world at home is right, their world at work is much, much better. And their mentality is much, much better. You know, when I met my wife back in 2008, my world got flipped upside down, and really I might say right side up, because my world was already upside down. I was in a dark place in my life, and meeting her was the best thing that's ever happened to me. And when my life changed, I slowly began to realize that there was more behind my life than I knew, that everything revolved around missing being back in my hometown in California. I was so set on that, and I'm still very, very proud of being where I'm from, and I still flaunt that every chance that I can, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows me that knows I'm a huge San Diego Padres fan. You can see the SD back here. What you see up here is the Fresno State Bulldog. I'm still a Bulldog at heart. But that mentality, what I started to realize is this mentality here, in my hometown here, we're one and the same. I had the same heart. I had the same drive. But I forgot the mentality that I needed to have, and I forgot what was important for a while. And losing my mom and seeing everything she worked for gone. Everything she worked for to enjoy her retirement was stolen from her. I don't blame God, not in any way stretch, not in any form or fashion do I blame God for that. It was not his fault. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Remember that. But I did not want to work my life away where I could not reap the benefits. I want to give my kids everything, but money isn't everything. My time to them is everything. Their mom's time with them is everything. Sometimes memories and moments and what's important to your kids have nothing to do with money, have nothing to do with what you get them on Christmas Day. Because if mom and dad aren't there at Christmas Day, what do the presents matter? Be there, be present. It's a lesson I'm still continuing to learn. Please understand, I'm not perfect in this. I'm still learning that lesson every single day on how to be the best dad I can. I'm still learning that lesson to be the best husband that I can. I'm not perfect in any way, stretch, form, fashion, anything. And I wish I hadn't learned the lesson. I wish it didn't take losing my mom to learn. But maybe God had to teach me that lesson. Maybe there was something in it that had to activate something inside me to say, you have to understand that a career, that a job isn't everything. The people in your house, those little kids who count on you, and that wife who loves you and who saved your life 13 years ago, that's everything. I know this has been a more of an emotional podcast, and there are some times that I'm going to come with more emotional thoughts, but I hope what I'm saying is an encouragement. I hope that something that I'm saying in this resides inside of you or is speaking to you directly about what you're going through. It's been a tough lesson for me to learn, but it's been a relevant lesson for me and an important one. As the 4th of July holiday comes up, I hope you guys have a great holiday weekend. I hope you guys have a blast. I hope you enjoy fireworks. I hope you enjoy those moments with your kids, those moments that you won't have to pay a cent for, but it will last a very, very long time. I love y'all. Have a great holiday weekend. And as I always say, be kind, be focused, be great. And we'll catch you on the flip side. So long, everybody.